This is a comparison video between the Pirelli Trofeo RS, the Nankang CRS, on a 992 GT3RS at Francorchamps on a sunny day in November. What else do you need? Stay tuned.
They ain't got no muscle, no hustle, no backbone. I stand alone and not tripping. Just saying, I'm different. Ain't hanging on to the coattails of the next man. Passport in my left hand, thinking that you are next. Heck, oh, you ain't holding your breath, man. Cause I'm out here, I'm hungry. Ball out on me like Willie Beeman, still performing like Al Pacino. So I'm about my business and I'm running with it now. They don't wanna give it up, we gon' make it out.
Welcome back to our channel and welcome to the second test day between the Pirelli Trofeo RS and the Nankang CRS, which has just released the sizes for the 992 GT3 RS. The Pirelli Trofeo RS was the one tire that you requested the most to see as a comparison between the Nankang or a test in general. So what we did was we went ahead, we purchased a Pirelli Trofeo RS set. Now we're gonna do exactly what we did last time. We're gonna go back at the track at Spa. It is November, but the sun is out there, so it is ideal circumstances to go out there and test. The recipe is exactly the same like with our GT3 last time. So we got geometry, we got brake pads, we got brake discs, and everything else is stock on the car. So I'm really curious to see how this day is gonna end and what results we're gonna find. The Vbox is inside, the cards are empty, everything is set. Let's go.
Oh, you taking, huh? Funny how I see y'all breaking up.
Wanna make sure you choose best, your sous chef, hold up.
Let me cook. Let me cook.
We are at the workshop of RSR now, where we're going to be doing the tire swap in between our driving, alternating between the two sets. So let's do a little bit of presentation again for the two tires. So we're going to start with the CRS, which is what we tried in the GT3 as well, and it is our standard, let's say. So for us, this is a more familiar tire. The pattern, we discussed about it the last time. Nankang has changed severely the design coming from the AR1 to the CRS, and now we can see a pattern that is, funnily enough, resembling quite a lot the Pirelli Trofeo, the previous generation, the Pirelli Trofeo R. We can see a very big shoulder on the outside part. We can see two grooves to dissipate water. It had very consistent performance last time on the GT3. A lot of grip, much more grip than the Michelin Sport Cup N that we tested. And that's about it. I don't want to tire you or take any more of your time. So now let's go and talk about the new Pirelli Trofeo RS. The Pirelli Trofeo RS, just by looking at it, we can see a completely redesigned tire. Yes, nothing that resembles the previous Pirelli Trofeo R. We can see a very big shoulder here, which is undoubtedly a little bit bigger than the CRS for what it's worth. We have here three grooves to push out water, and we can see a directional pattern inside here. And without really knowing or without having any data, I'm not really sure if this is different compound throughout the different parts of the tire, but I'm guessing so. What is clearly visible between the two tires is also the shape that they end up around the wheel. So the sidewall, this is a more round tire, where the CRS is a much more square tire to begin with. Looking forward to driving both tires again. This is the first time that we actually get these tires for the 992 GT3 RS, and the same applies for the Trofeo RS, which is undoubtedly quite a hyped tire in the market. A lot of people are talking about them, so I'm really looking forward to testing them, driving them, and see how these two compare.
Clip it up a ram jam, rap a pam pam. Give the gal them the grand slam and a champion. My 4-5 goes bang bang. Catch it one time, I'll be chilling with the gal and giving me some fun time.
Like last time, the simulation is going to be 3 laps, just to put some heat, just to put some pressure in, then come back, bleed off, and then go out for 10 laps straight to see how the tire is performing in terms of both peak performance but also longevity. And then we're gonna go back to RSR, we're gonna swap the wheels, we're gonna put the gold wheels with the Trofeo RS, and we're going to repeat exactly the same simulation again. And for those of you who were asking last time, we're gonna put all the geometry, all the, let's say, the alignment values for you, both in the details of the video underneath, and also we can show them on the screen here for you. And we can also share the tire pressures for all of those who were asking last time. So let's go out, let's hit the track. It just came red, of course. This is the life. So we're gonna go out there in a little bit.
You don't have to put up a red light. Those days are over. You don't have to celebrate tonight.
We are starting with the CRS. We're gonna put some temperature, beat up the pressures. We are starting with 2 and 2.1. You can clearly see on the screen. We are having a little bit of understeer here. Still, the tires are very, very cold. Now the tires are starting to come up. Second lap. Here, the sun in your face is really, really tricky. Now they're starting to really come up. You can really feel a lot of grip coming from the tire. Okay, tire pressures adjusted. Time to go back for the lap. The sun is very, very tricky now. So much grip for the CRS, really. These first laps, the tire is mega in terms of grip. You can go on the power very early and you feel the car gripping the tarmac very, very well. Here we have to find the braking point with the sun. And again, this is a track day where overtaking is allowed only on the left. We might not have the perfect lap, but we should be able, with the use of the Vbox, we should be able to put 1 and 1 together. Wow, that's a very interesting line you have there. At this stage, the CRS feels as almost as if I'm not going on power early enough. It has so much grip to give. Mega delicious. I have to say I'm enjoying this. The tire is mega. So early, you can go on the throttle so early, it's unbelievable. So even with traffic, that should be a sub 240, 236.5 mega with the traffic. Let's see if we can get a cleaner lap.
I'm feeling sexy. The tires are sexy as well. I was blabbering as I was driving, and the CRS has so much grip. Again, with this car, maybe I don't know. I was speaking to myself that I could go everywhere on the throttle a little bit earlier than what I thought I could. The tire still looks fantastic, in very good shape. Everything feels great with the CRS. Again, second time, and it's on another car. Yes, it felt very responsive. The front end had a lot of grip. The rear end just wouldn't go anywhere, even if I tried to go on the throttle a little bit earlier, just to provoke it. No, fantastic. And the tire still looks good. Maybe a little bit of wear is starting to come here. You can see here, maybe a little bit of wear we can see here, yes. Time for the Trofeo RSs, which I'm really looking forward to try. Maverick is a bit busy, so I had to put on the mechanic gloves and do the tire change alone. So bear with me. Bear with me, people. Yeah, maybe he's doing some flight demos, I don't know. I need a hand, and Pierre knows about this. In general, in life, I need a hand with everything. With the two babies, it has been a bit...
I give you my hand.
Yeah, superb. Now put it. Put it. So remember, gold Pirelli, blue Nankang. This is a quite pricey tire, I have to say. It wasn't cheap, which makes it very close to pricing to the Cup R. So all good. Let's put the car down. Let's torque some wheels. Fuck you. Something very interesting. I can already feel here the tire is already pushing the wrench outside. So it is much more round at the edge than the Nankang. Ciao, Maverick! Thank you very much for everything. See you later.
Driving back to the track now after the tire change, I have the feeling that the Trofeo RS is actually more loud than the CRS. I think we have a lot of rolling noise coming from the tires. So, Trofeo RSs are on. Again, same starting point with 2 bars and 2.1. Let's put some heat. Let's put some pressure. Let's come back. Let's bleed. Same understeer. Yes. Even more understeer than the CRS. Ah, there we go. This is something I didn't experience with the CRS, even during the warm-up. I feel less vibration coming from the tires. The Pirellis feel a little bit more well balanced. Now the tire has come alive. Let's go in, bleed, and let's go back out.
Trofeo RSs, we have just laid the tires, adjusted the pressures, and let's go for our 10 laps. The tire felt like it was starting to come on.
Around double left, I can feel plenty of grip. Wow, the tire is mega!
Wait a minute, get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big stepper, underground methods. Top-notch horse, get the most, not the lizard. Straight terror, but I got your errors. Pushing culture, baby, got that powder you can measure. Trendsetter, the one who got the weather. Swerving while I'm bumping Project Petter. Yeah, rolling through the city with the big dogs. Fuck the laws, loyal with me, we ain't got a cow. Zelly on silent with the panic, then the pen loud. That's how you make the money pop for everyone involved. And if you don't deserve a cut, then we gon' cut them out.
I think this must be the last lap. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit the front understeering again, when before it was very planted. So we just finished the testing. It is still November. The sun is gone. It is much colder, so the beanie is on. Both tires run very nice. From the beginning, I was very enthusiastic with how the CRS felt. It had immense grip. You could go, I was actually saying at the camera that it made me feel like I could go everywhere earlier on the throttle and earlier. So that was mega. And then I jumped to the Trofeo RS. And the Trofeo RS felt at the tighter parts a little bit more understeering everywhere. So I had this feeling which I didn't have with the CRS, especially at Speaker's Corner. I was trying to turn and the car had a little bit of a delay there to turn, and I had to wait a little bit before I could go on the gas. And maybe it's my feeling, but I'm pretty sure I can confirm this when I go on the data and we can see the throttle application. But that said, in the end, in terms of consistency, both tires were very consistent. They delivered very good performance without no drop whatsoever. The Trofeo RS was nearer the end of the day, so I had more clean laps, and we managed to do the better lap time with the Trofeo RS, as opposed to the Nankang. Yet, the Nankang laps were all with a lot of traffic, so we are gonna have again to jump like last time in the data and see if we can get something closer with using the optimal lap time. That said, the result that came from the Trofeo RS is really impressive. We managed to do with a full tank of fuel, and that was closer actually to the end of the lap. So I think that was lap 7. It was a sub 30 lap time at Spa with starting from a full tank, which is really impressive. Now, let's go back to the workshop, dismount the wheels, check the tires, see if we can find any evidence to compare regarding the wear. Because like we had last time with the Cup 2 Ns on the GT3, there was much more wear on the Cup 2 N compared to the Nankang. So I'm looking forward to see how the Trofeo RSs deliver. So we have just finished the testing from our day. Nankang CRS Trofeo RS. It has been a great day. Now, in terms of feeling, I don't know if it was because
we were actually going faster, but with the Trofeo RS, I felt a little bit of understeer in some corners, which I mentioned earlier, like Speaker's Corner. I felt a little bit of understeer, and also at Piff Puff at the beginning, at the first Piff Puff 1, on the right-hander, I was getting a little bit of understeer before I could go on the throttle, where I didn't feel with the CRS, but again, I say this with a pinch of salt because we were actually going slower, so maybe this was under the limits of the tire, so the tire was much more responsive in the case of the CRS. Both tires lasted the full 10 laps with no drop in performance whatsoever, which was really, it is something phenomenal. It is Spa is a little bit it's a little bit of a friendly track to the tires because it has long straights, so it allows the tire to rest for a little bit. So it has some pauses in between hard brakes and hard acceleration zones. In that sense, it really is a tire friendly racetrack. On the inside, on the rear, they both start a little bit to wear. You can see a little bit of wear on both these tires on the inside. Here, for example, in the Pirelli Trofeo RS, this is the rear left tire. You can see here a little bit of wear starting to appear. And again, I don't know if this is because of too much camber. This is more consistent on the CRS. You can see the ring having appeared a little bit more all over the tire, yes? So where in the Trofeo RS there are some parts which have gotten away with it. Here on the CRS you can see most of the tire having this kind of wear. And then moving onto the main part, we can see similar patterns of wear in between the two tires. So here, but we really need to zoom in to see this. A little bit of wear here in the middle, and in the Trofeo RS there is a little bit of wear in the smaller part. Again, it's a little bit more visible on the front wheels rather than on the rears. On the rears it starts to appear just now. It is not like the Cup N, where last time with the GT3 we had a severe like a sign of wear, where the CRS clearly prevailed in that aspect. I know from the last video that a lot of people actually watched the full 30 minutes video and you really enjoy the data analysis part, so I'm going to give you exactly the same things to watch this time, and I hope you will enjoy it as much as I will. So let's dive into it. For those of you, once again, that are not familiar with the Race Logic Vbox software, which is the circuit tools, let's go and have a look at the main screen. So here on the red, we have the video from the Pirelli Trofeo RS. Here on the blue, we have the video from the Nankang CRS. And here at the bottom, we have some selected channels that we have used to analyze and to look at. And then here on the bottom left, we have a big list with more channels that are available for each car, depending on the canvas channel availability. And of course, here we have the lap times that we have done in our sessions. Full disclosure, here you can see the date stamp is on the 4th of November, which is exactly the same date as the Pirelli Trofeo RS. It was impossible to throw a good lap time due to big traffic. So if you go through all these laps here, you will see that all these lap times here have been majorly affected by big traffic. That was impossible to give us a clean lap, and of course giving out a result like this would be complete void. I will not include this here, but instead this blue video here, as you can see again on the date stamp, you have 5th of November, which is one day later, which we were able to enter the racetrack. The weather was almost the same. It was a little bit colder, as you can see probably here from the ambient temperature. Take it, you know, with a pinch of salt. The tarmac here was a little bit colder, so it could have been giving a little bit less grip. And of course, keep in mind that the tires here now, the next day, have been already one time heat cycled, and they had a good 90 kilometers from this day, from the 4th, with the CRS on them. To compensate for this, I deliberately did not fuel up the car completely, so the car is running with a little bit less than 30 liters less than what it did when we did the Pirelli. So here you can see it's around 62% fuel tank, and here is 16%. So that was done deliberately, again, to compensate a little bit for the worn state of the tires in the case of the Nankangs. One more thing, let me talk first about the colors here. The red parts mean slower parts, the green parts mean fast parts, but then you have the purple parts, which the purple parts means this is the fastest pass ever made done by any of the sessions that we have actually opened there. And then what the program can do, what the software can do, is basically take all the purple parts and then it puts together an ideal lap time, which it throws down here for each of the sessions that we have done. Of course, here, as you can see, due to other reasons as well, we didn't have a lot of laps in our disposal with the CRS for the next day. We had another car on track which spilled, which was pushing some liquids. It was puffing in the back. So unfortunately, we had to stop the session due to safety reasons. And because we don't have a big pool of laps here, the software can only produce the lap time that it can with the data that it has. But here you can see that because it has a very big pool of laps, it actually can take much more different parts from laps here and there, and then it can produce an ideal lap time which is quite fast, to be honest. And then of course it is quite different from the actual fastest lap time that the tire has done on the day. This, what you see here, this lap here is not the actual lap time that the tire did. Why? Because let me explain in the video. Up until the point of Brussels, we have almost zero difference between the two laps. Okay, so here we have what, 1/10, not even 1/10 of difference between the two laps. So we have 0.06. And then, of course, as we go down to Brussels, things start to happen, and then it moves and it moves and it moves, and then we arrive here at pit path. So at the entry of pit path, at the lap with the CRS, you can see this Caterham here in the front, and this is now creating a big difference. So we have up to here, we have 4/10 of difference against, let's say, the CRS. So the CRS is slower 4/10 up until this point, but then up until here where the traffic clears and we can start pushing again, this has gone to 1.57, 1.6. So we can take from here 1.2 seconds of difference just because of the Caterham that we had here in front of us, stalling the corner and taking some time more to take. So 1.2, so we have 231.6 minus 1.2. We can assume that this is a 230.38 lap, okay? So that leaves us now finally sitting at somewhere between 0.7, 0.75 difference from the Pirelli Trofeo RS tire. And yes, we had a little bit of traffic as well here coming up to Paul Frere. We had this Clio here, which took a little bit of time out of the lap from the actual time with the Pirelli Trofeo RS. So let's play so you can see. So that wasn't such a big loss because we could still keep momentum and it was just a clean overtake on the outside. But still, of course, as this now is a big part of the track here, it would extrapolate, because if we were sooner to go on the gas, then we would have been able to go much faster through here. So then this is where we sit now between the two tires, 229.58, and I would say a very pragmatic 230.38 for the Nankang CRS. Considering that the tires from the second day has been already heat cycled one time and they have 90 kilometers of use on them, I find the two tires very similar in performance, The one thing that really stands out between the two tires. Now, what is this? If you look here, I will just remove the longitudinals from this channel here, so you have a more visible lateral acceleration. What is the lateral? It's when we move the car from side to side. This is the G-forces coming from one side to the other. So the red, remember, red is the Pirelli, blue is the Nankang. The Pirelli, if you go here and click max, and that will show you the max for each tire that they have produced, okay? And the way that now the software realizes max and min, it's basically right and left, okay? So max, whatever it is, if it's a left or if it's the right, it doesn't matter. The Pirelli has been able to produce 2 Gs, and then the Nankang, it says here 1.7. And then if you go to min, it's the other side, so left and right, right and left. Then this is going to be 2.1 Gs, almost 2.2 Gs, and then 1.72 for the Nankang. Something to keep in mind is that the Pirelli is really a tire that is moving underneath the car quite a lot. So the car is making, let's say, some spikes, just because when you also see the video, you will understand what I mean. You will see that there is a lot of fighting with the car, and you will see that there are a lot of movement happening. And just by looking at these spikes here, they are not really consistent. Okay, so we have a spike which could be understeer, oversteer, excuse me, it could be more oversteer, and then the car and the tire goes back to what it consistently do, like what it can sustain inside the corner. Here the same, you can see spikes. Here you can see spikes up and down. So here it shows that there has been some kind of oversteer and that we are fighting with the tire. Here you can see a spike. So the CRS tire is more consistent. You can see it is more linear on the way that it moves. Yes, the Pirelli Trofeo RS produced a faster lap time, but I can tell you that there was a lot of fighting happening with the car to keep it at bay and to keep it consistent, where the Nankang CRS produced the lap time that it has produced while being more steady, more consistent. You don't see so many spikes. You don't anywhere. So here, spikes from the red line, spikes, where the Nankang goes high, stays, and then starts to drop as you smoothen out the curve. So this is an actual trend, which you can see on all of the data. Take it for what it is. Watch the few laps and decide for yourself. Do you think you can actually take advantage of the potential more grip that there is in the, and I say potential, why? Because of that heat cycle. I mean, I did the best I could by going the next day and driving again on track. And because there was zero point, it was actually a waste of budget and a waste of all of our times and effort to show you guys this lap time. It was not relevant at any point. So this lap time, again, this is a 230.3, 230.4. And then I am keeping in mind the heat cycle, because a heat cycle, when you're talking about taking the most out of a tire, does really make a big difference, makes a big difference. So I don't know, and I feel that even this difference would be much more different, and if the CRS tire had a bigger pool of laps with a fresher tire, the ideal would be easily under 230s, and I don't know how big of a difference and how far away it would be from this extremely fast ideal lap time that the Pirelli Trofeo RS has been able to put down here. This is it. Now, in terms of braking and accelerating, it is kind of the same. The performance is kind of the same. And that's it in terms of the data analysis part. It was really interesting for me to see. I really felt that the Pirelli Trofeo RS is a very competent tire, and I would have loved to be able to compare it like with a fresh CRS set on day one, which unfortunately I wasn't able to do, because I'm really curious to see how much more closer these two tires would be. And I would definitely love to have been able to set this lap time, which is here mentioned as ideal. And that makes me want to test some more in the future. And I would love, because some people say that still the Michelin Cup 2R is the much faster tire, or is a faster tire. I would be really interested to see how much faster, for how long the wear on the tire, and of course, what lap time that tire could do on Francorchamps. I have some tires in mind that we call them as a one-day tire, which are road legal, that are actually quite fast. And if you would like to see any of that tested in our channel, then please feel free to comment below and drop us a message. Let's go back to the garage and let's wrap up this video. So now let's wrap this video up by saying first that this set of CRS tires has been offered by Nankang for our testing purposes. We had been in communication with them regarding the production of the 992 GT3RS sizes. So the moment they got them available, they sent word and they offered very kindly this set to go and put up against the competition. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Pirelli, which didn't reply back to any of our emails. So we just had to go out and buy a set for ourselves. That said, there still remains our video with our own opinion crafted based on the data that we share with you here. Looking at the data, there is a small edge in terms of absolute grip for the Pirelli Trofeo RS, but with a small caveat, being that not all users and drivers who are going to be driving the RS are going to be able to take advantage of that extra grip. And let me explain why. You see, when driving the RS, you definitely feel the car moving a little bit more underneath, so the driver has to really work more to iron out all these differences, and he needs to work quite a lot more with the car. The CRS, on the other hand, both from a pure feeling side of things, but also on the data as we looked after, gives a much more steady base and gives a base that will allow the driver to push a little bit earlier and will give more consistency throughout the bends. Moving on to the resilience against wear, both tires have performed excellently and they don't seem to have any real difference in the way nor the speed that they have worn out. In terms of feeling, they do have a difference. You see, as I said, the Pirelli feels softer on the sides, and that means a little bit less response while comparing it to the Nankang. And especially when moving from the CRS that I drove first, then onto the Pirelli RS on the same day, you can definitely feel and say that the tire is a little bit lazy, but that's not to say that this is a bad thing, okay? The moment you realize this and the moment you adapt your steering inputs based on this, then everything is fine and the driver can compensate for this. But coming from one tire and jumping directly to the other, there is definitely a difference in terms of characteristic and in terms of behavior, that's all. So in terms of feeling, I'm definitely leaning more on the CRS just because this is matching more my driving style and I like to have a more rigid base and something that is not moving quite a lot. And at this point I have to say that if you were a user of the Pirelli Trofeo R, which is the predecessor of the Pirelli Trofeo RS, and this is a characteristic that you liked with that tire, then you should expect the similar characteristic and behavior from the RS as well. And again, on the other hand, if it was something that you did not like from that tire, just like me, then again, nothing has severely changed in that aspect for the new RS. Lastly, we have to address the point of the price tag. And here is where things differ radically, with Pirelli being more expensive by quite a big margin. So depending on the distributor and the retail price, you should expect a difference between 700 to 800 euros for the two sets, with Pirelli being more expensive. And of course, with the question then being, is the driver going to be able to take advantage of that little extra grip that you can find in the Pirelli Trofeo RS for that much more money? So once again, as with all things in life, the answer is not black or white, nor it should be. So take the video footage and take the data and use it at will. For me, the CRS is still the smarter choice, and running a model with car rental tracks accommodating all different kind of levels of drivers still makes the CRS the better choice from all of the tires that we have tested so far. So to all the addicts that have stayed for so long into the video, a big thank you. If you found the video interesting, then please do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and potentially share the video with any of the friends that you think it would be interesting too. And if you would like to show your support, then you can find a link for a GoFundMe campaign in the description below, with which you could help us and support the channel, and of course help us produce more cool stuff of what you would like to see and what we would love to produce. So until next time, you all take care and hopefully see you on track sometime soon.